Hi, this is Dina. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm 55. I'm a wife. I'm a mother. I'm a grandmother, mother-in-law, babysitter, homemaker, reseller, ex-reseller. I wanted to come on here and share some things. I might have to freestyle because this is my first video, so you know how that goes. But I just wanted to share some things about reselling, why I quit reselling, my childhood, some things that can maybe help somebody else, maybe one person, maybe two, or maybe more. I don't like talking on camera, but this is what you have to do when you got to make a video or talking in front of people. But I never really shared certain things of my life, only with a few people, like my friends or my family know about my childhood. And I just think it would be beneficial to somebody. And there's some things my husband went through. Maybe he'll come on later and talk about what he been through that a lot of men go through, but it just don't seem like there's a lot of help for it. But, or maybe I just don't know that people are getting help. But we didn't get the help that we needed when he was going through it. And the things that I went through when I was a child, I thought about it and think back that, you know, a lot of people talk about trauma, what happened to them, but we didn't talk about trauma so much back then. And now we are now, or we just hid it inside. I didn't have the worst childhood, but, you know, what happened to me could be like a shock to somebody else, which was a shock to me. But I'll just share my story. When I was growing up, I grew up with two parents. And I was born in 1970. And I was the only child. You know, my mother and my father was married. I don't know which year they got married, but I know my mother got married at 20 something maybe. And then she had me later on. So, but I can remember I was born in like a project, but back in the 70s, it was like a one story, but upstairs and downstairs, and they was connected. But back then, it was really nice. The kids would go outside, everybody would play with each other. It was just like a big U, and you pull in, everybody can play. So when I was about 2 years old, can't remember that, 3 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old, I just remember when I was little, my father was the one that took me to all the amusement parks. He played with me. My mother, played with me, but she took care of more of the house. She worked when I was younger, and my father always worked. But I have to explain it so I can get to my point. Just, be patient. So we was, when I was 5, I don't remember that, but I just remember being in private school. She always kept me in private school when I was 5. And when I was 1st through 8th grade, she kept me in Catholic school. So all that time I would be in Catholic school, but I was not Catholic. So first grade, I would be with my grandmother on the weekends. I mean, through the week. And then my mother would come and get me on the weekends to come back home because the school was closer to to my grandmother. And I would stay with my grandmother and my cousins. So I grew up just having cousins that I played with. And my mother had a sister. So all those people on that side was my cousins. I grew up with my cousins. She dressed me nice. She did my hair. And I was just remembering what I can remember little by little to bring you up to where I need to bring you. So when I don't know how old I was, but my mother and my father had a fight. They drank on the weekend. They would play cards, have family over. Have friends over, and then they would drink and play cards and stuff like that, socialize, and those people had kids. So we would play upstairs. My mother and father would be downstairs. And I don't know what happened, but that night my mother and my father was fighting in the kitchen, and they was throwing glasses, throwing stuff at each other, and I was sitting against the wall, and I just sat there, and I just was looking. I was just looking back and forth, didn't know what to do because I never seen this up until I was about 7 or 6. So I'm devastated. I didn't hear them argue, just this big fight. So just bear with me because this is my first time, and I'm trying. So they had a fight, and I remember my mother must have called the cops because she wanted them out that night. So the cops came, and they said my father didn't have to leave. And my mother said, I want him out of here. And so the cop said, we can't make him leave because he lives here too. And so my mother said, well, the only reason you're going to come back is somebody's going to be dead, two dead people or one dead person. So then the cops took him. And that's when my father, he left for the night. And so from there, they had a couple of more fights, and it was more than I knew. So he left the house, and then when I remember when I was 8, I guess my mother was tired, and there's just things you don't know when you're a kid. He was gone. When I was 8, he was gone. So I grew up with a father that took me to the park, we had a dog, a Doberman. We loved that Doberman, Duke. We had Duke, took care of it. Turn around, my father's gone. 8 years old. So mark these points. 8, my father's gone. I went to school. Like I said, I went to Catholic school, and I was in school, but when I knew my father was gone, I could not think. I could not do my work. I was just sitting there, just devastated, and I couldn't even pretend that I was doing my work. So what happened, my mother came up to the school. They said, Dina's not doing good. She's struggling. I was in 3rd grade. She was struggling. She's struggling. And my mother tried to get me help, but I didn't get help, meaning I didn't get help in my work. So I had to stay back a whole nother year for 3rd grade because my mind was not there. I just was thinking about my father. So then it was just me and my mother. And I know this isn't going to be one video. I have to make it two. And this is my introduction to my story, you know. So I hope you follow me. I hope you like it. And I hope you subscribe. And we'll get to the nitty gritty of stuff, you know, once I get all my thoughts together. But 8 years old, by myself, you know, at the house with my mother. And I'm thinking, you know, I'm just outside playing. And I was getting bullied also. When I was that age, remember, I was the only child. So I'm outside, I'm with this one girl. She used to bully me. And I was the only kid. So she would, you know, I would be pushed back up against the wall. She would push me back up against the fence when I would be outside playing. And she would get in my face and intimidate me. So now my father left. I have nobody to back me up. My mother would back me up. My mother, she loved me. She was no joke. She was no joke. They called her and my aunt Bonnie and Clyde. But she was a sweet lady. And I'm doing this for her because she passed away in 2010. But we'll get to that story, you know. But she passed away, and I wanted to just do this for her. And you'll get to know what I mean after I get to my point. Anyway, I'm outside being bullied. I had glasses, so they always call me Four Eyes. Constantly being called Four Eyes. And I was kind of like timid and shy. And people would, this one girl, she came up to me, and I was 8 years old also, and she pushed me down. I mean, what she did, they was just being bullies, and this is a different girl, but she wanted to, I had a shirt on that you button up, so she wanted to fight me, and I don't even know what she wanted to fight me for. She pulled all my buttons off my shirt, and I couldn't do nothing but run after that. I had to run in the house because I felt like, well, she ripped my clothes off for nothing. And when I say for nothing, I wasn't outside talking any junk to nobody. I was just playing. So the big girl that was bullying me, she had 3 other sisters. So I was thinking in my head, well, if she got 3 sisters, she got somebody to back her up. But I didn't have nobody to back me up. So I'm going to end it here. Just follow my journey, and I'll get to part 2. Thank you.